Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Advancement, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show. We cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today, we have a very, very, very fun show in store for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. So, as you guys know, we're in this present moment in time where you have this kind of war that's going on between the modern era of the NBA versus the eras of the past, right? And this manifested itself recently in this movement that took hold about, let me say, a few months ago, and it was called We're Done with the 90s, right? Where people on the internet, on TikTok, YouTube, wherever, were putting together clips of 90s players having blunders and all of that. And it even got to the extent where people were now even beginning to question if Michael Jordan could go left, right? It got pretty embarrassing, right? And creators like ourselves and others were pushing back on it. So what happened? I was going through the internet and I came across a sit down that took place actually a few months ago, but I'd never seen it, or maybe I never paid attention to it. And it was on the channel, Come and Talk to Me, Cam and Mace's channel, but I think they have another show, which is, I guess, the Mark Jackson show. And I think him and his son are the ones that host the show together, and then they invite guests. So what happened? During this sit down, they invited New York native Kenny Smith. All right, Kenny Smith from a Houston Rocket. He's also on Inside the NBA. We all know who Kenny Smith is, right? So Mark Jackson's son is like a pro today's guy, right? He's a LeBron guy and all of that. And the interview is going on, and he basically starts asking Kenny Smith to explain why the 90s isn't trash. He brought up We're Done with the 90s and all of this. And this is the first time I've actually heard Kenny Smith talk basketball off of Inside the NBA and just really talk basketball. And man, when it came time to answering Mark Jackson's son, man, he totally dismantled this fake narrative that has been going around that somehow players today are so much better than players in the past, and players in the past were just basically scrubs and they were terrible. I mean, he really went to work, and it was a masterful performance, and he said a lot, but we want to play the major highlights of what he had to say. But before we even get into what Kenny Smith had to say, today's video is brought to you by our sponsor, Game Time. With only 4 months left until the end of the year, I look forward to creating special moments with family and friends by attending various theaters, shows, plays, and sporting events. And when it comes time for me to look for tickets, I absolutely love to use Game Time. Game Time is one of the most reliable marketplaces for last-minute tickets to the most popular events in sports, music, and theater in more than 60 cities across the United States and Canada. Game Time saves me money, time, and peace of mind, so I don't have to sort through thousands of tickets looking for the best prices or worry about whether or not if they're authentic or whether if I'm going to receive them on time. Game Time Picks, one of my favorite Game Time tools, analyzes thousands of tickets for all of your favorite events near your location and finds you the best possible deal so you don't have to. For example, I'm looking forward to this upcoming concert at Madison Square Garden of one of my favorite composers, Hans Zimmer. Here, I can select the all-in price to see the total ticket price up front. No hidden fees. And now I can sort through the best possible deals I can find. I can choose the cheapest deals, the great deal, or the amazing deal. Once you select the ticket you want, you can use their panoramic seat view to ensure you know exactly what you're getting before you buy. And if you're like me and always make plans at the last minute, you can grab tickets up to 90 minutes after the event has started. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and use redeem code CLNS for $20 off. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what we want to do now is want to play the key parts that Kenny Smith laid out, and then we're going to come back and really get into his comments. Take a listen to Kenny Smith here.
Because you make a $5 million, $10 million, $15 million doesn't mean that you're worth that. It's just the demand of that. But how did that demand get created? So I see players today who have holes in their game. Not millions, a lot of holes in their games, but they make $20 million. And I have a saying, it's hard to work hard when you're sleeping in silk robes. So they don't understand that they're not really that good. And that's what I hate when they go, when I see the podcast and they're like, oh, this generation is that. This generation of basketball players are very good individually and very good talent, but also the Globetrotters were well. As well.
Oh my
Wow,
goodness.
this is no, I can't let you do this. Come back. No. I can't let you do that. That's crazy.
DeMarcus Haynes could slide on the floor and dribble through his legs.
Oh my goodness. This dude said.
And Goose Givens could throw it from half court.
The Globetrotter.
And Metal Lock Lemon. Curly Neal had the
That's
handle.
what we doing?
No, I'm just
saying. So now you have to refocus of the thought. Like that is very appealing to watch.
Yeah.
But there's a content of excellence that gets you the basket. There's a content of excellence. No matter how many times I pop, it always comes down to a 1-2 pull-up.
Yeah.
It comes down to 1-2. Can you do a 1-2 pull-up? That's it. So I could have done all of that and just go 1-2 pull-up. It just comes down to that. So their ignorance.
look that way. You ain't got to tell me.
Their ignorance of what it is. Like, wait, let me say this. They go, oh, and it wasn't athletic. I'm like, wait a minute. Larry Nance was more athletic than Larry Nance Jr.
Preach.
Yeah.
You think about that. You telling me that our era wasn't athletic. The dad is more athletic than the son.
I'm with you, but I gotta push back a little bit, man. It's only basketball. Basketball is the only sport that has this type of mentality. Because we don't see Tom Brady and say, oh, he can't be better than whoever. Any all-time
Johnny
great.
Unitas?
Yeah, he can't be better than Johnny Unitas. He's not getting touched. Like he can't be better than Joe Montana. He's not getting sacked. We don't hear that. We give Tom Brady his flowers. But when it comes to basketball, we constantly hear about, oh, it's a comparison between today's players and the players of the 80s.
But I think that
90s.
comparison started initially with us on salary.
Okay.
It wasn't skill level. It was like, yo, these dudes are getting paid, the older school guys, not even us, because we caught it like the generational wealth. But they were like, yo, the salaries are crazy.
Yeah.
This guy's not. So that's what they were talking about when they were comparing it. Then the new school said, oh, no, we talking talent. We better than you. I'm like, bro, no, you're not. Like, you wouldn't start on our team. Like, you couldn't start.
This
This guy argued with me. I
This
said
is
Nick Van
crazy.
Exel. Nick Van Exel is a max player today, averaging 20
Without
plus
question.
points.
Nick Van Exel will be a max player. He's a guy who can shoot the three.
I
He
didn't
can
really
handle the
argue
ball.
that. I didn't argue that. Nick Van Exel was an amazing player, and he probably
He
would
would
be a max player.
player. So my logic of today, when I listen, I look at it with, I understand because you haven't lived it. You know, you haven't lived that moment when Michael Jordan was scoring the baskets. So you can't see it. But I've lived the moment even when LeBron was playing Detroit and he had 20, I think it was 30 straight points. I lived that moment. Mm-hmm. I lived the moment of what Joker's doing. I understand all the moments. But the skill level, because you can shoot the ball from half court and it goes in, doesn't make you an impactful player. It doesn't. And there are certain guys that can translate in each era, for sure. But there are guys who are average players that think that they would have translated to be great players, and it's insane. Sometimes I get this. Kenny talks like he was that guy. I was that guy.
Yeah.
I was. And
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. If there was a party that everybody who won an NBA championship, I'd be at that party.
Yeah.
Comfortably.
If there was a party where everybody had back-to-back championships, I'd be at that party too.
Yeah.
If there was a party where everybody who won college basketball player of the year, I was basketball times player of the year in college basketball, I'd be at that party. If there was a party and they said the best 50 players of high school basketball that ever played, McDonald's All-American sent me a ball, voted me one of the top 30, I'd be at that party too. Man. So I've been at a lot of parties. So I've seen a lot of people and I've seen the great people in those parties. So you're just average, bro. You're average.
Yeah.
You were average then. You'd been average then.
This dude, what are you drinking? Is that an energy drink? Did we slip something
You
in this
wouldn't have
energy
been
drink?
great. You wouldn't have been great because you could shoot the three.
That's what I'm talking
We would have
about.
covered you. We would have guarded you at the 3-point line.
Man,
Now, and the average player in our era wouldn't have been.
Yeah.
Let me take that back. An average player in our era because of the rule changes, could have been better because it's a scoring lead now. Where you come, there was no, Jack, was there a term called two-way player when we played?
No.
If you didn't play two ways, you couldn't play. There's no such thing as, he's a two-way player. Because there were very few specialists. So like now you could be a specialist and get $15 million and you're looking at your salary and say, I'm good. No, you're not.
Yeah.
You're just a specialist that shot the ball. Like, no, you didn't.
Can you imagine guys trying to guard you without being able to hand check you?
Okay.
I threw the lob, now I'm out.
The hand check rule is the single rule why I feel that players in that era would be better players. It's not because they worked harder or whatever. It's just the rule. Because when you play hand check, right? I could get up.
Yeah,
I can stand up. Okay. If you hand check it.
Our last guest couldn't.
Okay.
That was Dave.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
So I'm gonna let that go. If you're hand checking me, and this is my camera?
Yep.
This is my camera. Yeah. Okay. So he's hand checking me. I have to, because he's hand checking, I have to turn this way.
Yeah.
Without the hand check, I can face up here. Now I become a better passer because I have, my peripheral is now at 75 degrees, where here it's at 50.
Yeah.
I'm a better passer because I could see more. I'm a better ball handler because I can play with it. You can't touch me. I'm a better shooter because now my feet are squared up to the rim. Here, I have to turn and you can see me turn.
Yeah.
Now I can, hey.
So you heard what Kenny had to say. Bro, at one point, he called today's NBA players globetrotters. Do you know how hilarious that is? It's hilarious, but it's also appropriate. I like when he said it, I was like, man, that's such a good characterization, of these guys. I was like, wow, he perfectly, laid it out. Look, he brought up some very, very crucial points. The first point he brought up was, back then you couldn't even make it on an NBA team if you didn't play both sides of the ball. That was the first point he brought up, meaning you had to be a two-way player to even make it on the court. That was a very, very solid point. Secondly, he brought up the point of today guys just really being specialists, right? Just being specialists, and they're making a lot of money for just being a specialist, and you think you're great, but really you're not. It's just that's the thing that the NBA is selecting out for. And the interesting thing that happened was I actually sent some of those comments to two NBA players that y'all know, right? Maybe we'll get the second one on the show, but not now, later. Well, maybe next year we'll get him on the show. The first player was Gilbert Arenas. I sent him videos of what Kenny Smith was saying. And of course, he said it's not true. What part was he referring to? He was referring to the part of the hand checking, right? What you didn't see in the audio was that he was actually demonstrating how hand checking influences the way the game is dictated. He said when you're hand checking a player, you're playing with your back towards the defender, and they can put their hand on you, so you have to guard the ball, right? Because you can put your hand on the player and guide them all over the floor. But if you don't hand check, the player cannot play face up, so he can see the court better. His court vision is better. His passing becomes better. His shooting becomes better because he's able to set his feet. So what Kenny Smith was saying is that, look, the only reason players today are better is because of the rule changes. And I sent this video clips to Gilbert Arenas, and of course he pushed back. Then I sent it to Rashard McCann. Sent it to him. I'm like, yo, bro, what do you think about what Kenny Smith is saying? He said he's 1,000% correct. And he basically broke down why. He said the rules are the reasons why players look a certain way today. And he was basically saying that players then could adjust to this game now, but players now cannot adjust to that game, right? And he said there are a lot of guys making $15 million, and he's like, bro, you're not really that nice, son. And I was like, this is absolutely beautiful to hear this come from a basketball. Now, some people say, oh, it's Kenny Smith. Kenny Smith is that dude. Like, he that dude. All you need to do is Google him and you'll figure out who Kenny Smith. He was a bad boy. He wasn't just some dude riding the bench up here talking. Like, son was nice. And he was accomplished, right? But he also knows his basketball. And to me, I think what he did was he was like, The only reason players in the past looked at players today, he was like, we're just looking at their salaries, not like, oh my God, these guys are better. That is a major shot in the direction of this narrative that somehow I never bought into it, and I never, ever, ever, ever will. I just won't. He said players are more athletic today. He brought up the example of he's a Cleveland Cavalier now. He's a former Laker. I forgot the guy, light-skinned dude. His dad played in the NBA. He's like, he's a better athlete than him, and his dad was a better athlete than him when he was playing in the NBA. How do you explain that? Larry Nance, right? Larry Nance Jr. So to me, look, man, I think Kenny Smith made some fantastic points. And what I want to know from the audience is, what are your thoughts on some of the points that he brought up? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We catch you guys on the next show. Peace.